Have a quiet conversation with your soul. Let's begin with this. In a world full of noise, distractions, and endless expectations, we rarely take a moment to simply sit in silence and listen to ourselves. But within you, there's a voice that doesn't scream for attention, it whispers truth. It's your soul. The most important conversation you'll ever have isn't with others, it's with yourself. This is not about fixing who you are, it's about remembering who you've always been. So pause, breathe, and allow yourself to reconnect with the deepest part of you. This journey is quiet, but it holds the loudest answers. 1. The noise of the world. We live in a world that never stops speaking. Phones buzzing, news scrolling, voices demanding. Amid this chaos, your soul waits patiently in silence. You won't hear it until you turn the noise down. A quiet conversation with your soul begins the moment you disconnect from the outside world. Let go of the need to respond instantly. Still your surroundings. Still your mind. In that hush, a deeper voice rises. It doesn't shout. It doesn't argue. It simply reminds you of what truly matters: peace, meaning, and truth. 2. What silence reveals. Silence isn't emptiness. It's full of answers. When you pause, reflect, and breathe slowly, your soul brings clarity. Questions you've been running from begin to unfold. You may be surprised at what emerges. Old dreams, forgotten wounds, or buried hopes. The soul doesn't speak in logic. It speaks in feelings, intuition, and quiet knowing. In this space, you're not fixing anything. You're listening. This act alone, of simply hearing yourself beyond the noise, is revolutionary in a world obsessed with output. In silence, you meet your most honest self. 3. Accepting what you hear. Not all that your soul whispers will be comforting. Sometimes, you'll hear truths you've tried to avoid, regrets, missteps, or the pain you carry but never voiced. That's okay. This is where growth begins. Don't run. Don't numb. Sit with it. Honor what shows up. Your soul isn't trying to shame you. It's trying to free you. By accepting what you hear, you allow healing to take root. You realize that your past doesn't define you. How you move forward does. 4. The power of inner honesty. It's easy to lie to others, but lying to yourself is what truly erodes the soul. When you have a quiet conversation within, honesty becomes your compass. You admit when you're tired, lost, or pretending. This raw honesty doesn't make you weak. It makes you real. It allows you to finally align your life with your truth. No more acting. No more masks. Just you flawed, strong, evolving. Inner honesty gives your soul room to breathe. And with that breath comes power. 5. Reconnecting with purpose. Your soul always remembers why you're here, even when you forget. In your quiet conversations, you're reminded of your purpose, not one given to you by society or family, but the one that was seated in you from the beginning. It might be to create, to heal, to serve, or simply to live fully. Purpose doesn't shout. It whispers through your soul. When you slow down enough to listen, you find direction again. The path becomes clearer, and your energy begins to return. 6. Emotional release in silence. Silence is a safe space to let your emotions rise. Without anyone watching, judging, or advising, you're free to cry, smile, or just breathe. These moments of emotional honesty cleanse your spirit. You stop bottling things up. Instead of suppressing pain, you move through it. The soul speaks through emotion, not just words. In your quiet space, let those feelings out. They are not weakness. They are truth in motion. And when they flow, you feel lighter, more present, more alive. 7. The soul's language. Intuition. Logic helps you survive, but intuition helps you thrive. Your soul speaks through intuition. That gut feeling, that nudge, that unexplainable knowing. In silence, that voice grows clearer. You start trusting yourself again. You no longer second-guess every move. This trust is the root of confidence, not the loud kind, but the quiet certainty that you're on the right path. Intuition doesn't need validation. It just needs space. And when you give it that, your life begins to align naturally. 8. Creating a sacred ritual. Having a quiet conversation with your soul can become a daily ritual. A few minutes in the morning, a walk without your phone, journaling at night, lighting a candle in silence. Whatever your way, make it sacred. This isn't about perfection, it's about intention. By making time for your soul, you're sending a message: I value you. And in return, your soul will guide you, strengthen you, and remind you who you really are. 9. Letting go of the outside validation. One of the soul's deepest longings is to be enough without applause. In your quiet space, you begin to detach from the need to be seen, praised, or liked. You're reminded that your worth is inherent, not in your achievements, not in your appearance, simply in your being. When this truth lands in your heart, you stop chasing what doesn't matter. You show up as yourself, unapologetically, freely, and calmly. 10. Building inner strength. Strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it looks like sitting in silence with your pain and choosing to keep going. These quiet moments build resilience. You're not just surviving, you're transforming. When you can sit with your soul and still believe in your future, that's real strength. No external force can shake you because your roots are deep. You've built them in stillness. You've built them with truth. 11. Embracing solitude. Solitude isn't loneliness, it's clarity. When you spend time alone, you begin to distinguish your voice from the world's noise. You stop living on autopilot and start asking real questions. Am I happy? What do I want? Who am I becoming? Solitude invites reflection, and reflection reveals wisdom. Your soul thrives when it's not competing with distractions. In solitude, you remember that being alone doesn't mean being empty. It means being whole with yourself. It's in these moments that self-love is nurtured, not as a feeling, but as a choice to value your own presence. 12. Listening without judgment. One of the most powerful things you can do for your soul is to listen without judgment. Often, when uncomfortable feelings or thoughts arise, we rush to fix, deny, or shame them. But your soul doesn't need fixing, it needs space. When you listen without labeling something as bad or weak, you allow healing to begin. You become your own safe place. You stop silencing your truth. In that acceptance, transformation begins. Compassion replaces criticism, and growth becomes gentle, not forced. 13. Revisiting old dreams. In silence, forgotten dreams often resurface. Dreams buried by fear, failure, or the need to be practical. But your soul remembers them. When you quietly reflect, those passions begin to whisper again. They remind you of what once made your eyes light up. Maybe it was writing, traveling, helping others, or starting something of your own. These dreams may be old, but they're not dead. They're waiting. And when your soul brings them up again, listen. Maybe now is the time to try differently, more bravely, more freely. 14. Healing old wounds. Your soul carries not just hope, but pain too. Past betrayals, losses, and disappointments live quietly within. In silence, those wounds rise not to hurt you, but to be acknowledged. Healing begins when you face them with softness, not denial. When you let your soul cry, breathe, and grieve, it begins to release what's been buried. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means freeing yourself from the hold of the past. It means choosing peace over resentment and love over fear. Give your soul time. It knows how to mend itself when you stop interrupting the process. 15. Choosing peace over drama. When you connect with your soul regularly, your tolerance for chaos drops. You no longer feel the need to win arguments, impress people, or explain yourself constantly. You begin choosing peace, not because you're passive, but because you've learned the value of your energy. The soul prefers peace over noise, presence over performance. It doesn't crave the spotlight. It seeks stillness. And the more time you spend in quiet conversations with yourself, the more easily you'll walk away from drama, knowing your soul is your sanctuary. 16. Letting go of control. Your soul doesn't need to control everything. It needs trust. Often, we exhaust ourselves trying to manage outcomes, timelines, and people. But in silence, we learn surrender. A quiet conversation with your soul teaches you that letting go isn't weakness, it's wisdom. You can't force life to obey you, but you can choose how gently you move through it. When you stop clinging to certainty, peace replaces anxiety. You let life unfold, knowing your soul will adapt, adjust, and rise because it always has. 17. Noticing the present moment. The soul lives in the now, not in regrets of the past or fears of the future. When you slow down and listen inward, you realize how often your mind drifts away from the moment. But peace is always available, right now, in the sound of your breath, the warmth of sunlight, the stillness between thoughts. Talking with your soul helps you return home to the present. And in that moment, nothing is missing. You're safe, whole, and enough. Now becomes sacred. 18. Reconnecting with gratitude. Gratitude is the soul's natural state. But in the rush of daily life, we forget to notice what's already good. When you sit in silence, your soul gently points to the beauty you've been overlooking. A friend who checks on you, a sunrise you almost missed, the fact that you've survived things you thought would break you. Gratitude isn't just a practice, it's a powerful healer. It shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance, and that shift quiets the noise of lack. 19. Honoring your inner voice. You've always had an inner voice, it's just been drowned out by noise. When you finally get still, you hear it clearly. It's not loud or demanding. It's calm, wise, and honest. It tells you when something feels wrong. It nudges you toward what feels right. Listening to it strengthens your intuition. It becomes easier to say no to what drains you and yes to what feeds you. Your soul doesn't scream, it whispers. And the more you listen, the stronger that guidance grows. 20. Releasing perfectionism. Your soul doesn't expect perfection, only presence. In silence, you realize how often you've been chasing an ideal version of yourself. But the soul doesn't measure worth by productivity or performance. It values truth. You are enough, not because of what you achieve, but because of who you are. A quiet conversation with yourself reminds you to stop apologizing for your humanness. Messiness is not failure, it's real. Let go of the need to appear flawless. Your soul doesn't want polished, it wants peace. 21. Prioritizing inner peace. When you start honoring your soul, inner peace becomes non-negotiable. You stop arguing with people who misunderstand you. You no longer explain your silence. You protect your space, your time, and your heart. This isn't selfish, it's survival. The soul knows that peace is the foundation of all clarity. When you're calm inside, everything outside becomes easier to manage. Make decisions that keep your soul light. You don't need to prove your worth through struggle. Peace is not a reward, it's your right. 22. Embracing your shadows. Not all parts of you are bright, and that's okay. Your soul carries shadows too. Fear, jealousy, doubt, guilt. Silence gives you the courage to face these parts without shame. You realize that wholeness isn't about perfection, but about integration. When you embrace your darkness, you become more real, more human, more free. Your shadows don't define you. They deepen you. They teach compassion. They create space for growth. Your soul wants you to stop hiding from your flaws. Heal them. Honor them. Learn from them. 23. Detaching from validation. In the quiet, you remember you don't need everyone's approval. External praise is temporary, but inner alignment lasts. Your soul wants authenticity, not applause. It wants truth, not trends. As you connect more deeply with yourself, the need to be understood by others fades. You begin to feel enough without needing to convince the world. That's freedom. The more you trust your soul, the less you chase validation. And in that freedom, you become unshakable. 24. Strengthening self-trust. Every quiet moment with your soul strengthens a sacred bond, self-trust. You start believing in your own voice. You rely less on advice, more on intuition. You stop overthinking and start deciding. You stop hesitating and start acting. When you trust yourself, mistakes no longer paralyze you. They teach you. Your soul doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be faithful to yourself. Self-trust is not arrogance, it's alignment. And it's built in silence, through listening, learning, and choosing. 25. Returning to self-love. At the core of every silent conversation with your soul is love. Not the romantic kind, but the kind that says, I've got you. You stop abandoning yourself to please others. You stop shrinking to fit. You stop running from your reflection. Self-love is the deepest form of healing. It's gentle, fierce, and quiet. It looks like boundaries, rest, forgiveness, courage. And the more you love your soul, the more you stop needing others to fill your voids. You become whole, not from outside love, but from inner truth. The last words. When you take the time to sit with your soul in silence, you begin to hear what truly matters. You gain clarity, courage, peace, and purpose. Life won't always slow down for you, but you can choose to slow down for yourself. These quiet conversations are where your healing begins and your power returns. So, return to yourself often. Not when life forces you to, but because your soul deserves to be heard. In the stillness, you don't just find peace, you remember who you are. And that, above all, changes everything.